Okay, class. For today's lesson, we're gonna go back to basic, okay? It's how do you load up for your toss, okay? Stick gives you your dice. You pick your combination. You set them up. Now, the quickest way to remember your combination is that the opposite number that's facing you is its opposite. So, if a 1's facing you, the opposite of that is a 6. If it's a 4 facing you, the opposite is a 3 because it has to make a 7. The opposite makes a 7. 5 plus 2 opposite makes a 7. 6 plus 1 makes a 7. 4 plus 3 makes a 7. Okay? So if you get 3, 3, 2, and you want the hard way, you know the opposite, what takes 7 take away 2 is a 5. And this is opposite. Okay? That's how you find your set really fast. That's the difference between amateur and professional. Professional don't spend time rotating that, trying to figure out what he wants. Okay? That's what amateur do. Professional already know his dice set. We already know what face we need to reach our point. Okay? As soon as sticks give you your dice, you already know what you want to set up to. Okay? That should be automatic. There's no thinking about it. So you have your dice set. Okay? Now, how do you load? Okay? What I always do every time I get my dice, I set to the set I need. I make them 1 unit. Okay? 1 unit. I don't touch them, I leave them alone. Then I go to the side and I adjust my hand. I level my finger. I level the angle of my thumb. And then I come to my dice and I slowly take my time and load up. And that's it. 50-50. Little overhang. Little overhang. Now make sure that your overhang here is equal to the overhang here. Alright, and the pinky is tucked in. And that will give you a good roll. Okay? The detail is what you need to pay attention to. So set your dice up 1 unit, line your hands up, adjust whatever you need, come in and dock. Take your time on the docking, because after that, there's no more contact. There's not a lot of pressure applied to the dice. It should only be just enough to stick to your hand. And when you toss, it falls off like that, okay? That's how I do it. Make the dice 1 unit, adjust my hands to dock with the dice, take my time, hold my breath, make my dock. Adjust, look at the overhang, overlap. Is it even? Then I toss. Now all this comes second nature once you have muscle memory dialing, okay? Now I'm touching with the pad of the tip of my finger, the pad. On my thumb, I can feel if I'm doing at an angle or I'm laying flat on the pad. So here's what it looks like. If I'm laying flat, the pad should be like this. If I'm at an angle, I'm holding more this way or I'm holding more this way. You don't want that. You want to be able to be flat. All contact of your pad is made, not slightly angled or slightly angled. So I'm left-handed, so my angle sometimes is always this way. I have to be conscious of that and make sure I adjust for it and be flat. Okay? I get my dice. I want the hard way. Set my dice up because it's the opposite of each other. So remember, the total number of the opposite face is a 7. Line up 1 unit, adjust my hand and finger, take my time, hold my breath, steady, dock. The docking section is the most critical because that's the contact that you're making. Think of it as a space shuttle docking with the space station. If you screw up, bad shit happens. All right, so you want to take your time. Once you lay it out, you backload and you toss. Okay, I don't bend my wrist on the toss. I bring it up, my elbow lock, and then the momentum release the dice. Okay, my finger and my thumb does not release the dice. It's the momentum of the throw that releases the dice. Now, that's a backward throw. Okay, backward toss. Line my dice up, just my finger and dock. 50-50 each side, 50 contact with the thumb. Backward spin. Here it is, backward spin. I tilt the dice a little bit to myself. You see that slight tilt? I tilt that to myself, and the tip of my thumb is what's holding it. All right? I tilt a little bit to get the angle of the dice face touching the fingers in the back. All right? See that 45-degree angle back there? That's applying pressure to the finger. And the pressure is the tip of my thumb rotating. You want to slightly rotate to lock that in, okay? Now, that's for the backward rotation. If I want to do a forward rotation, I would tilt it more this way. See the slight twist? So when I throw, I twist that way, see? I will rotate my thumb and the finger, it would roll off my finger on a forward spin. Here it is. On a forward spin, I rotate the dice as it's being released. See the slight rotation with the thumb as it's being released? Backward spin, I curve in as it's being released. See it? That's one grip. Now, another grip I use is the off-center grip, okay? Two finger, and the thumb. Same thing. I use this toss when I'm doing the 6-2, 2-1 set. And this gives me a 6, 4, or 3, okay? That's what gives me, because I throw that set a lot, and that's the majority of the number that shows up. And that's what I'm used to, okay? And that's what I'm hoping to get. Now, I do the same thing. I line my finger up. I come here. The first finger and the thumb is 50-50. See it? But the middle finger is covering one side. See that? That's one way of doing it, okay? Now, I get my dice from stick, okay? I set up to my go-to set, which is a 6-2, 2-1, okay? Just my hand, whether if I'm using 2 finger, 3 finger, or slide, I always come to the table to level, because that's my muscle memory. That's my mechanic step. I don't want to deviate from that step, even though I'm not using that particular feature, okay? I come here, I dock, I push all the finger to the bottom. I can hold it all the way to the bottom, to the back. It gives me a different result. If I want to slow down the rotation of one of the dice, I stretch the finger out even more. This middle finger is lined up to this section where the bend is on your finger. That gives me a certain percentage. Okay, I can go 50-50 here. That gives me a certain way. Because when I toss, this dice here will rotate off axis. It'll spin, I'll go crazy. But this is the one that I'm controlling because it's still rotating. All right. So this is the grip I use when I do the 6-2, 2-1. Okay, 2 finger and a thumb. Dock to the top, 50-50, and a pointing finger and a thumb, and full on the dice. In this way, or you can go in halfway, right? Or you can go in all the way, right? And extend a little bit, okay? So you see the grip is important. Just like a baseball pitcher, he holds the ball in a certain way to get certain result. And the only way you know what works for you and what is the right way for you is by practice, okay? Now, if I hold a 2 finger this way, the result is different because this dice is loose and this is in control compared to if I hold the dice both this way, all right? That's why the grip is important. Another grip I use is when I'm doing the 7 set. Now, in this case, I line my dice up to 1 unit, okay? Again, just my finger. I come to the side, I dock this way. I go all the way to the bottom, and I pick my dice up. And when I toss, I don't use the arch. I go straight line. See, I would go like that and bang the back wall. And once the dice hits the back wall, right, it will kick back and push this one out. See, that's why you hit it hard. They go together like this. Bang, hit the back wall, pressure, push it off to stop. All right. That's what I call the slide toss, the train set. Now, another toss I do, this is when I'm really up and I just want to showboat. I use what I call the aristocrat toss. It's basically the pinky up, right? I take my dice. I will use this on the 5-3-2-4 set, okay? I would turn the dice 45-degree angle using the graphics on the table. The pass line don't pass 45 degrees of that. Line my finger. I will come up here 50-50, and before I pick up, my finger acts as a still. See it? Like here. This way I'm getting 45-degree angle, 45-degree angle, and when I toss, I can pick it up and I can rotate this, throw it like a football. Okay? Roll it like a football. And when it lands, it hits and it kicks up and it bounces. But it will always spin in the air together like that, like a football. Now, 45-degree angle, pick up the thumb, and I could always toss underhand. See it? Bang. But my pinky is always up. That's why I call it the aristocrat toss. Okay? And that's the 3-way I hold the dice. All right? Another way that I rarely use, but sometimes I feel bored, I set up my dice. I go to the claw pitch. Okay? Each corner is held with contact. See it? And when I toss, it causes the pressure. The dice separate. The dice will spin out like that. And each one goes to each side of the corner. And they travel horizontally. So, for the all 7 set, I use the train toss, okay? The slide. Face down, all the way to the base, pick up, horizontal toss, bang the back wall as hard as I can. The lower two row of the alligator, okay? If I'm doing the hard way set, line up my dice 1 unit. I always line up my dice 1 unit no matter what set I use. Adjust my hand, my finger level, come in, dock, pay attention if I'm 50-50 everywhere, pick up the dice, forward spin, I would rotate forward on the toss, backward spin, I would pull back like that. It's a slight rotation that gives you the toss, okay? That's it. Get your dice, find your set, memorize the opposite number because they total have to be a 7. Lay out your hand, dock, pick up. Okay, the docking is the most important part of the grip. All right, if you dock wrong and you're not applying 50-50 to each part of the thumb pad, then you're not getting the right result. You're going to get an implosion or explosion on one of the dice. Okay, adjust your hand, dock, adjust. See it? Forward spin, rotate. Backward spin, rotate. It's that slight thing that you don't see, that people don't talk about, okay? And the key important part is the overhang of this side and this side. You want to make sure that overhang 50-50 evenly. It's like an airplane wing, right? You want them both to be even on each side for right flight. Same thing with the dice. Again, if I'm using my kissing set, okay, kissing set, right? Kissing set because they all look the same, right? Kissing set. Line my dice up 1 unit. Adjust my hand. Pick up 3 finger. Just backward spin. the all 7 set. Train slide toss. The train in the caboose to the back wall as high as I can to kick back. All right. The 6-2-2-1 offset. One finger to the left. Overhang. See it? See the overhang? Gives you a totally different result depending on what you want. Okay? And my favorite one, when the deals are pissing me off and everything, is a 7 set with a parallel and pinky toss. Okay, set the dice, 45-degree angle. Here's your 45-degree angle. You're using the 2 and this line here to give you a train set. Level your finger, adjust to the side, dock, pinky down. You're standing on the pinky for leverage, and your dice will always be 45-degree angle, okay? You could toss it like you're throwing a football, right? Just toss like that. Just here is slow motion, toss like that. Spin it, right? It'll travel together, or you could toss it underhand, okay? But your pinky is always up, okay? Remember the old movies with the teacup with your pinky up, all right? And if they really piss me even more coming, I grab my dice, get my set, I do my set up, all right? And before I even adjust my hand, I lay out my hands like that to the banker. You know, the box man that's counting, controlling the chip from the dealer. He's sitting down because he's usually the asshole that fucking pisses you off all the time, right? Lay my hands out so you see there's nothing. I come down, I adjust, I pick up my dice, I make my throw, okay? I get my dice back, make my set, show my hand that there's nothing in my hand, adjust, lay out, okay? I do that every time I get my throw when I know there's an asshole looking at me, all right? Set my dice, find what I'm looking for, open my hands, adjust, and prepare for the docking. Make my toss. Okay. Now, when you're picking up your dice, you want to make sure that they're staying together like this. Okay? Not pop open like this or like this. You'll know it when they're not together. Okay? You want them sticking together like that. And that's how I load up. Okay? And that takes time. You have to work on that. It's not just about throwing all the time, landing zone, everything. The first contact you make on your dice is the grip. See? You load up, you set up whatever you want. Remember the opposite of it, total 7. Okay? Do your setup, adjust your hand, dock, load up. Okay? There's different types of play out there you'll see. Okay? I usually there's 3 or 4 different levels, right? Guys just get the dice and they pick up and they ring around and then they toss, okay? These are what we call, the keyframe was noted by the dominator. They call it chicken feeder, okay? Because the motion is like you're just feeding the chicken, okay? These guys rely on luck. They're random shooters. You know, sometimes they make it. Most of the time they don't. If you bet on them, you'll be throwing your money away a lot, okay? So they're not predictable. Their patterns are not repeatable, okay? They're not consistent. They just shake, right? Pick up, shake, toss. No repeatability. Can't duplicate the result of the throw, right? That's one form of shooter. That's weekend warrior. Guys come to play for the fun, hoping that they win and go home with something. Most of the time, they go home with nothing, right? The second level is a guy will come, he'll set up his dice, right? And then he'll just throw, all right? He doesn't adjust his hand. Like I said, he'll set up to the set that he wants because that's what he has, little ideas. He thinks he knows. He read a book, somebody told him about the V formation. You line your dice up, pick up your set, and you throw, okay? You get the 2 Vs, okay? Get your 2 Vs, 3 Vs, and you got your off-center V, which is this. See? Off-center, because one's higher, one's bigger than the other. Those are the V formation. They just come, pick up, and throw. They don't care. That's like a dice setter, okay? He's just a dice setter. He just come, he set, he throw. That's level 1, okay? Level 2 is a dice mechanic, all right? He'll come, he'll set up his dice. He know exactly what he want. He make sure it's perfectly laid out, and then he adjusts his finger, okay? And then he load up, and then he toss. You'll always spot a dice mechanic because every time he gets a dice, he goes through the same process over and over again. He does not deviate because he's relying on his muscle memory, okay? He'll grab his dice, he'll set it up to whatever he wants it to be. Make sure his dice is perfect, adjust his hand, pick up the dice, throw. That's a dice mechanic, all right? The guy that just come and he just sets up his dice and throw, that's just a dice setter, all right? He's like 25% knowledge. Dice setter, set up his dice. Make sure he take his time. Everything's perfect. Adjust his hand, go through the ritual, then load up. That's a dice setter. Those are the guys that you're looking for that can make you more money, okay? The guys that come and they want to have a good time, they pick up the dice and they throw, that's a random shooter, okay? Save your money. Or sometimes they pick up the dice, they'll bounce it a couple of times off the back wall, try to get the combination they want. That doesn't do anything. That just tells you that they don't know how to set the dice for the combination they want, and they're just wasting time, okay? So if you know that the total number of the dice equals 7 on opposite sides, you can find the face easily, okay? 5, opposite of 5, 2 equals 7. 3, opposite of 3 is 4 because it equals 7. Get it? Okay. Now, the key is to spot a dice mechanic. He always goes through the same motion, the same routine. It doesn't deviate. Pick up the dice, set it up, work with his hands, lay it all out. He may be fingering with his chips, right? He'll pick up the dice, then he'll put it down, he'll reset, and he'll go again. But he always does the same thing every time he gets the dice because it's in his muscle memory, okay? Lay out. So every time I shoot, I pick it up. I always adjust my hands on the table and go like that. And if I get pissed off, I set my dice, make sure they're perfect, show my hands to the box, and then I adjust. Make my throw, show my hand again. Okay? That's what I do all the time when I'm in the mood. Set my dice up, right, to the set I want. Show my hand, make my connection. That's it. That's how I load up. All right, so you have to practice your loading up, your grip. All right, you need to figure out, is it the upper part that works for you, right? The middle part that works for you, or the lower part that works for you? You need to get comfortable with your grip and to know what position gives you what result. Okay? Now, when you play at your local place regularly, you know who the hot shooters are and who can't make the number, so you could bet accordingly. You can go on the right side or you can go on the dark side. But what I always do when I get on new tables and I see players I don't recognize, I do the 5 count. I wait for them to pass 5 row, then I bet the come line. If they make that row, it goes to the number. If they 7 out, I get paid. But I always wait for the 5 row because the average is 6 and most people can't pass 5. That way it saves me some money. I hope that helps you out. If you have any questions, just feel free to reach out to me or leave a comment. Take care and good luck. Don't forget to show up for practice.